Nintendo Switch!
Are your regulatory systems functioning? On behalf of the Squid Research Lab, I certainly hope so, because the findings we're about to present may be startling. Oh, that's right. You may be wondering about the Squid Research Lab. Well, we research squids in a lab, and other things too, like that strange video. Perhaps what you saw seemed a bit unusual, but research indicates that freelance Power Egg collection is becoming quite popular among Inklings in a new mode called Salmon Run. Luckily, one of our fearless researchers went on location and captured this curious activity live on camera. Now, we share our findings with the world. For the first time on film, we can see this remote location, separated from Inkopolis, on the other side of the ocean. This derelict man-made island is a hotspot for freelance Power Egg collectors. Amazing! Inklings super jumping to the island! We've concluded that 4 Inklings make a team, just like in Turf War. And what are they wearing? The implications! It looks like some kind of special gear provided just for this task. And it appears they're given weaponry too. It's a Power Egg collector's job to defeat creatures of the salmonid genus who habitually attack for some unknown reason. And it's not just one wave, which is a plus when you're collecting Power Eggs. As you can see, they can be acquired from debilitated salmonid. It may sound easy, but what's this? Some sort of salmonid. To tell the truth, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. Just wait till I tell my boss. Oh, that's it. It's a special kind of boss salmonid that Inklings are paid a bounty to hunt. I'm afraid our brave squid friends are no match for this beast. At least, not with their current strategy. Oh, one of the Inklings is down. And another. Yet somehow the incapacitated Inkling has deployed a lifesaver to call for help. Oh, I see. When a fallen freelancer gets inked by an ally, that Inkling can be resuscitated. freelancing does have its benefits. Communication is key because Inklings that work together win together. Unless they don't. What an honor it is to witness this incredible struggle. How odd. These eggs have a rare appearance, even among power eggs. Could they be golden eggs? And now it looks like the Inklings are transporting these golden eggs to a containment unit in the center of the site. Aha! Could it be that this is the freelancer's ultimate objective? To harvest these golden eggs and haul them to Inkopolis? Indeed, after many trials and tribulations, the Inklings have collected their golden egg prize and fulfilled their corporate agenda. What we witnessed here is the harsh reality of one suspicious part-time job. Why would such a dismal occupation be so popular among Inklings? Well, it might be due to the rewards. I've heard they're quite, fresh, is it? More research may be required. What a day for science! If we compile any new information, you will be the first to know. We're planning to release a research report on the ongoing battle with Octarians, so stay tuned and stay fresh. That reminds me, we have one last report for you. It's a scientific fact that new Splatoon 2 series Amiibo will be released. There are 3 new figures: Inkling Girl, Inkling Boy, and Inkling Squid. When you tap these Amiibo, the figure character will appear in-game and befriend you. Befriend an Amiibo character and they'll remember your favorite outfits, weapons, gear, and option settings. Tap your Amiibo on the customization menu screen and you can swap your outfit with the Amiibo figure's outfit. I'd imagine it comes in handy when waging turf wars at a friend's house. To conduct your own research, try snapping a photo with your Amiibo friend. That way you can both wear your favorite outfits. Then you can share your photos with human friends on social media via the Nintendo Switch album. Sometimes your Amiibo friend may give you special gear as a gift. The game is compatible with previously released Splatoon Amiibo figures as well. Well, fellow researchers, today's presentation is over. We look forward to sharing more research in the future. Thanks for... Oh, forgive my apparent short-term memory loss. I have one last fact for you. Splatoon 2 launches July 21st. And the new Amiibo release that same day. That's all for today's report. Squid Research Lab, signing off.
Hi everyone, I'm Ed here with Corey from the Treehouse and our friend Jordan. As many of you know, we're gearing up for the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational. We've got teams from Japan, Europe, Australia, and the United States all coming to Los Angeles to battle it out at E3. And so we thought this would be a good opportunity to take a moment and give a shout out to the global competitive Splatoon community, as well as highlight some areas for the players who probably enjoy the game but maybe are still looking to make that next step into the competitive scene. And we're going to look at some new wrinkles that'll be on display in Splatoon 2 for the first time at the World Inkling Invitational. So Jordan, you are going to be our host and part of the commentary team for the tourney. And you know, we've run you through some a boot camp of sorts with Splatoon 2, and you've had some time with the ROM. And you know, I'm wondering sort of your thoughts on seeing how the same mechanics are sort of playing out from a caster's view.
Yeah, you really put me through the gauntlet here. And being hands-on with Splatoon 2, you find out that the foundation comes down to territory control. And you really get introduced to that during Turf War. And obviously, it's who can ink the most turf and you're victorious. But taking that core principle of territory control and then applying it to ranked matches is very important, because it's not just about filling up your special meter or trying to cover some ground, but you're really increasing your team's mobility while limiting what the other team can do as far as where they can move. And once you can check off that box of territory control, then you can move on to, say, filling up the splat zone, getting on the tower, grabbing the Rainmaker. And when you do that, you then force the other team to have to, number one, regain control of the territory, number two, gain control, and then finally, number three, get back to the objective for the ranked match. So really, that foundation of territory control is where everything starts in Splatoon 2.
I saw it really brought to the surface during the US Inkling Open. And you know, I saw some players really skillfully just inking areas before they would even get into position, you know, and they would also like find themselves those outs. They would worry about like that before they're considering where do I post up or how do I secure the objective. It's what's my positioning that'll be safe so I don't end up getting splatted and turn into this further liability to my team because I'm at the spawn point and not in the mix. But also, if things go wrong, how can I get out quickly?
Yeah, it's really interesting when you watch these elite players and you get some feedback. Before any of them go into a specific area, they already know how to get in and get out. And if there isn't anything that exists at that point, they make sure that they cover up enough territory where, okay, if I get underneath some fire, I can get out. Because as you said, if you get splatted, you become a huge liability for your team, because once you see a 4 versus 3 advantage or a 3 versus 1, that's when the other team makes that push to really change the game, especially in those ranked modes. And so making sure that you can stay alive and be able to help your team comes down to, again, territory control.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And it's really one of those things, I think, Corey, we've talked about it quite a bit, but like, I don't know of a whole lot of other games where like painting the area around you, that territory control mechanic really facilitates how you can travel and, you know, and hindering your opponent's ability to travel as well. It's really sort of unique to the game.
Yeah, I think it's made the game, certainly in the community, a little more accessible as well, because you don't, you know, it's not a game that you just have to be shooting, you know, for headshots and killing your opponents, right? You can be contributing just as much to your team just by creating that the territory.
So one of the new differences is in Splat Zone. And Splat Zone is about controlling a territory for more time than your opponent. Corey, if you want to talk a little bit about one of the small tweaks that's being done to Splat Zone.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the rules have not changed since the first Splatoon, but now when a team controls the Splat Zone and you start getting control of it, there's actually a minor UI change where you can see you getting back control of it. You're going to be able to see that you're making progress towards taking back the Splat Zone.
One of the other changes is in tower control. A little more in your face, this change with the checkpoints, but tell us a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, so as people remember from the first game, the goal of tower control is to ride this tower into your enemy base. Key change in Splatoon 2 is while riding that tower into the base, there are multiple checkpoints where the tower will actually stop for a countdown until it continues on. So we'll probably see a little bit more intensity of action towards that tower, you know, as it's getting through the checkpoint.
Well, also defensively too, you know, if you have a lead and you're trying to protect it at the end, you can camp essentially at one of those checkpoints because you know the opposing team is going to stop there for anywhere from 8 to 10 seconds, and that's when you can make your big defensive push.
Moving on to Rainmaker, my favorite mode. I think a lot of people love Rainmaker. It's so engaging, so interesting, and can get so intense at times. But there's also a small tweak to that as well.
Yeah, so of course the goal of Rainmaker is you're going to grab this Rainmaker, as they call it, in the middle of the map, and you have to carry it towards the enemy base. I think what makes it dynamic is that it's unpredictable. You don't have to go in any one direction to take it to the enemy base. Folks remember from the first Splatoon that the Rainmaker, when you're holding it, can kind of emit this tornado-like ink blast. And now in Splatoon 2, it's a little bit different where you'll be firing this burst instead of a tornado. It might change strategy just a little bit.
Hey everyone, I'm Ed here with Corey from the Treehouse and our friend Jordan. As many of you know, we are gearing up here for the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational. And so we thought this would be a good time to take a moment and give a shout out to the global competitive Splatoon community, as well as look at some areas of focus to maybe help the players who really enjoy the game and who are maybe looking to take that next step into the competitive scene.
I think the most important thing is really getting into story mode, because I remember with the original Splatoon, I jumped right into multiplayer. You get used to the territory control, but what story mode does is it teaches you to move while you spread your ink to cover that territory. And I think regardless of what weapon you use, you need to be able to learn how to be mobile and learn how to get around and flank your opponent, or at least just handle the environment that you're going to be in. And so I think going into that story mode and really getting a feel for the controls is going to help you really master any type of weapon you eventually settle in on.
In the recent single-player trailer we just unveiled, we showed that in Splatoon 2, you'll be able to play with different weapon types in the single-player campaign. So not only will you be playing with like a shooter-type weapon like a splatter shot, but you'll get access to like a roller, a slosher, a charger, the new dualies. And you'll be able to take those base mechanics over into the multiplayer modes as well.
And that's huge, because I think, again, as someone that started off as a novice in Splatoon and nowhere near the competitive level of players we're going to see at the championship here, going into that one-player story mode, that's when I saw the biggest increase in sort of my skill and comfort level with the game. And now that you can use different weapons with that, I mean, what a wonderful opportunity to learn how to develop your skills with the weapon that you're maybe most comfortable with. And then as you get into these ranked matches, you also learn that certain weapons do better in certain ranked modes. For example, we saw the blasters really do very well in that tower control, where most of the teams are typically concentrated by the tower. So if you can get some splash damage from a blaster, it makes it a good choice for it.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting you talk about using that campaign mode to explore mobility and maneuverability and getting comfortable, because another aspect of that is of sort of getting grounded and really like understand the fundamentals is the recon mode. Is it officially called recon mode?
So you could just call it recon.
We'll call it recon.
Yeah. So when you go into the lobby, whatever levels are in the current rotation, you can press a button and just kind of recon that stage. So you can, there's no enemies, and yeah, you can just kind of swim around in ink and find all the nooks and crannies. I think what's really great about that mode is maps change from mode to mode, right? So the turf war version of the reef is different from the Rainmaker version of the reef. There might be different obstacles in the way, or like little sponges or something that let you get to another area for a shortcut. So knowing all of those minor differences is paramount into success.
I do want to touch on one last thing, and that's knowing your maps and how important that is. That's something that became clear watching these competitive teams play to get to the World Inkling Invitational. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting was the development we saw play out in the US Inkling Open on Moray Towers. That's traditionally a stage where you always include a charger in your team comp. And so you always have a sniper gaining position somewhere. One of the teams ended up foregoing the charger and going with a hyper-aggressive team comp, and they ended up sort of taking out all of the available sniper positions for the other team because they ended up steamrolling to the other side. And they really had the charger on the run then.
You mentioned the opposing team having a charger. It's his job to really distance the opposing team, cover some area, and provide some cover for his teammates. When they can't do that, when they can't help out their teammates, you have now taken out an important cog of the opposing team. And while you're taking out that important cog, what are you doing? You're getting territory control while you're doing that. Because if you've got, say, a splatter shot and you're taking out the charger, you're covering a bunch of territory with ink while you're chasing down that charger player.
I actually love the fact that you're bringing up Moria Tower specifically because, as we've shown, it's coming back to Splatoon 2 with some changes. Most noteworthy, the ink rails, which are going to now be a part of Moria Towers. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to change strategy as well. If we'll see as many chargers, will we see more rollers? Yeah.
Jordan, Corey, I want to thank you for your time. We actually got to wrap it up because we got a tournament to get ready for. But in the meantime, we got some friends coming in. We're going to play a quick game. And Jordan, we'll see you at E3. Corey, you'll be there. We'll all be there. And so I hope you'll be there too. So please tune in, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
See ya.